Tequila! Aha! Surprise! It's me, Janjo, of the Janjo Zone. Welcome, everybody. No time like the present. Last time we tackled these, we did Invasion of Chaos, which was a big set. And between last stream and this stream, I did a couple more sets off stream, which I will cover in this video, which was Ancient Sanctuary, the last North American set, as well as Soul of the Duelist, the first worldwide set. I can adjust my webcam a little bit. Something like that. I think that looks fine by me. How about you all? I got the Rise of Destiny. Actually, let me show that off real quick. It's a cam full screen here. Yeah, Rise of Destiny banner right back there. I think it's a button for this stream a little bit. Ooh, a little hot in here, but yeah, I got the Rise of Destiny banner back there. Show that off last stream in all its glory. Very beautiful piece. But this will be the last stream for fixing Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's been a fun run, but I think we can finish it off. And for whatever reason, if we don't finish, then I'll just finish it off stream. But I will be posting the full list somewhere, probably in my Discord, wherever it fits the best. But I think it's fun. I'm not going to do GX, but I do have an idea for a GX stream next week. So for those who like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, definitely keep an eye out for that. I think it's a pretty fun idea, and I can't wait to show it off to everyone involved. I hope everyone is having a good evening or time of day if they're watching this post the live version. But just to reiterate the idea of this stream, of this video series, is that we're taking, since beforehand we ranked every single card in the DM era of Yu-Gi-Oh! In this series, we look at we take the sets again and look at the cards and see, all right, which ones could be fixed, right? Let's adjust them a bit, some heavier than others, some lighter than others, and try and fix a card while still keeping what makes the card, what it is, right? So keep the, what's the word? We don't want to completely reinvent cards. Some cards we kind of have to, but if we can help it, some cards, they only need very minor changes, very slight changes to kind of keep the idea of what the card's going for. Sometimes we get a Yado Karu, we really have to change some things, or sometimes we just get a card like Black Tyranno, where we just change a very, very slight, subtle thing. So, I think if we're going to let's go over Ancient Sanctuary, shall we? Since that was one of the off-stream sets we covered. And if anyone has any ideas to fix certain cards, or fix cards that we've already discussed before, I'm completely open to always going back in weeks, months down the line and adjusting cards. There's been a couple times I had to go back and change the cards because sometimes it's something that I would prefer to, I think about, oh, this probably should work this way. This might should work that way. We don't want to break every card. This isn't to make every card meta viable. It's just to make cards a little more worth considering. Take out some of their inhibitors, you could say. But starting with Ancient Sanctuary, we got 3-Hump Lakuta, whereas you tribute as many of that card on the field as possible and draw a card for each card sent. So now, essentially, you can use this as like a 1-for-1, right? Send 1 to the graveyard, draw a card. Or you can send 2, draw 2 cards. So it makes the card active on summon, but of course it does take a summon, so keep that in mind. 7 7, we upped the draw to 5 cards because you're already using 3 cards that really don't do anything for a while, and then it destroys the card. So giving you at least a +2, I think, is absolutely warranted. Amplifier is kind of a longer one. I removed a couple of effects, just like bounces out slightly. So now this amplifier loses 2 things. One, it loses that now your opponent can respond to it. Kind of weird that they could in the first place. And the other thing is that it doesn't have an effect where, like, if it's destroyed, Jinzo's destroyed type of thing. But on the plus side, not in addition to getting you its normal effect on Jinzo, it gives Jinzo a 600 attack increase, meaning his attack goes to 3k, which I think goes a long way for Jinzo, right? So now you have that better trap immunity and an attack increase. A lot of cards in Ancient Sanctuary, which I think is the worst set in DM in terms of like sheer amount of cards. A lot of it was just attacking. Hey, Lee, what's up? You doing my cuz for his birthday? Nice. Who won? Got Insta Coffee. I'm doing like Insta Coffee evenings. It's pretty good. Trying out different recipes. Arcane Archer of the Forest. I kind of did a thing where I kind of swapped its stats around a little bit. Just gave it better attack. Archlord Zorado. I had it where instead of a light monster, it's just you just card a monster, which is fair enough. Aswan Apparition. This card, it has a cool effect. Also, really cool art too, right? Inflicts battle damage. You can return a trap to the top of your deck. However, this one can attack directly, which fits because it has that kind of stat, right? The 500/500. So if you can get that and top a trap card, I think that's perfectly reasonable. Ghost Knight, I gave 1900 because I think any monster that, on average anyway, that requires a tribute should at least be 1900, right? The Air Knight kind of level. Death Scissors bumped up its stats. Lady Ninja Yay bumped up its stats. Legacy Hunter bumped up its stats. Just cards that have decent effects, but their attacks are so low that you never consider them. Your cuz won against with the Brandon Blue Eyes for the Synchro deck. We gotta. Well, I guess it's for his birthday. That's good for him, right? Well, that's always fun. I remember I had a birthday in 2002, May 2002, where I dueled my brother, and we split the starter deck Kaiba. That was the first time I've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh! So that was, first format. He kicked my butt because, one, he knew how to play. I assume he knew how to play. I don't remember too terribly well, but he definitely gave himself the blue eyes. So he was not letting me have a good birthday that year. Light of Judgment. This one was kind of tricky because it has good effects, and it's hard trying to bounce it while making it a bit better. So I ended up, instead of discarding a light monster, I have it where you banish a light monster. So the setup is a little bit easier for it. Manthro Tro, I upped its burn to 1,000. Mazera Devil, this time now you can actually look at your opponent's hands and discard 3 cards instead of it being random. Needleburr, again, tribute monster, bumped up to 1,900. Oh, both of your decks. Well, hey, there you go. At least if you have a close duel, that means you bounce them properly. Nubian Guard. It adds a continuous spell card. Spell card. From graveyard to the top of your deck. I believe before it was just the shovels back in your deck. I don't quite remember. Some of these I don't remember. Piranha Army, I increase its attack fairly considerably because if it deals that double damage, right, doing like essentially like a spy 24 is kind of nice. Rocket Jumper, similar thing to Black Tyranno. I just changed the wording where now it's only requires your opponent's monsters instead of just cards they own. Sonic Jammer. This stun spell's a little bit longer, so you can have to make use of it. Soul Absorbing Bone Tower increases defense to 2,000 because it always felt like a 2K defender to me personally. Soul Reversal. This adds a flip effect monster back to your hand instead of to your, I believe it's top of your deck. So it's much more proactive. Special Hurricane, which I think honestly is a fairly decent card anyway. But now it just discard a card to destroy all your opponent's special summon monsters instead of on the field. Spirit of the Pharaoh. This one, including the first sarcophagus, I had to change a little bit. So now Spirit of the Pharaoh, it must be first special summon, which is good. And then you can target up to 4, yada yada, special summon those targets. And then Pharaoh gains 500 attack for each level 2 or lower resolve monster on your field. So now it gains like a lot of attack, right? So if you bring back 4 other monsters, it gains 2,000 attack. Which considering how considering how you're summoning it is really nice. Talisman of Spell and Trap Sealing, pretty much the only thing, and they're both the same thing really, is that it allows you to activate other talisman cards instead of just stopping stuff altogether. So you can have both of them up on the field. Agent of Wisdom Mercury. I wasn't sure if I should change the agents at all. They seemed relatively fine. This one I mainly just gave it a much higher attack and also changed its effect slightly where during your opponent's in my phase with no cards. Had you had no cards in your hand, you draw a card. So you can get its effect off much quicker. Theban Nightmare, I really like where it had no cards in your hand. Instead of hand and field, I reduced its buff from, I believe it was 15 beforehand to only 700, just because it's a little bit easier, but I kind of made it almost like an Infernity card. End of Anubis just gave it more defense points, really. I think it has a good effect otherwise, just for some reason its defense is lackluster. First Sarcophagus. So this one I made more similar to Ancient Ruler Rises in like the skill in speed duels, where once per turn you can send a level 2 zombie monster from hand or field to the graveyard, and you can place one of the sarcophagi from anywhere onto the field, and if one's destroyed, they do not all pop. Like if first sarcophagus is destroyed, the rest don't go with it. And then you can, send to the graveyard and special summon Spirit of the Pharaoh from anywhere. So now you can pretty much get its effect off by, like, you activate it. If you activate it during your opponent's turn, you'd be able to pretty much summon a Spirit of the Pharaoh almost right away, which is really nice. Although a Spirit of the Pharaoh, sometimes you might want a little more setup for its effect to get that really strong punch. 1,000 Energy and Triangle Power, they're very similar cards, right? One was for level 2, one was for level 1s. And I decided to make them both fairly similar with like level 2 or lower, just so they're more universal, except that 1,000 Energy increases by 1,000 permanent stat increase, while Triangle Power increases by 2,000, but they're destroyed at the end phase. So 1,000 Energy is fairly the same, or Triangle Power is fairly the same. 1,000 Energy is just more of a permanent buff. So, like, do you want to risk like the bigger boost for a 1-turn punch, or the relatively smaller boost for a permanent power? I mean, permanent turn, like, until the end phase. Not like they don't pop afterwards. So you can chain all of them, but they're not gonna be like a permanent thing. Rather, Vampire Lady just decreased her stats by 50, so now she can be summoned off Pyramid Turtle and whatnot, or Mystic Tomato. Warrior of Zera increases stats to 18, because if you're gonna play the Zera stuff, you might as well want something with good stats. Weapon change made this once during each of your main phase instead of standby phase. Instead of, I think it was like 700, you pay 500 instead, and then it shield and source until the end of your opponent's next turn. My Magician Pickaroo, during your standby phase, gained 800 instead of, I believe, 400. So now it's a much bigger increase. So that's Ancient Sanctuary. Solo Duelist, like these sets, is kind of they're smaller. Um, but that said, the sets, they're not particularly great either. It's just there's just less variety of cards. Let's see, Solo Duelist. So Abyssal Designator, I like its effect by just cut its paying by half, so only 500 if you want that extra thing. Armed Dragon at level 5. This one, I just got rid of the whole like attack has to be higher thing. Cause I always thought that was just like the biggest issue of it, really. Whereas level 7, actually, if it's probably face up, right? That sounds a little more fair. Whereas level 7, you can send one monster from into the graveyard for all monsters your opponent controls. That definitely gives you incentive to get level 7 because that's a pretty good effect, right? Discard Sinister Serpent for a Raigeki. Like, damn, that's good. It's probably only you make this once per turn. You can only use this effect. Or should probably be more like this. Once per turn. And just in case. Cemetery Bomb increased from 100 to 300. Element Dragon, Element Soldier bumped up their attacks from 15 to 17. Enervating Mist reduced the hand size from 5 to 4. Gorgon's Eye is kind of busted, I gotta say. Where it's a continuous trap now, and all effects of defense position monsters are negated. Might be kind of busted. Greed increased the burn from 500 to 800. Harehan increased the returns from, I believe it was 3 to 4. Horus's Servant, now its effect essentially discard it to negate an activation of a card that targets Horus, which gives it great protection. I don't want to do like too many hand traps. I think this is like the second card I have on here. This whole list that is a hand trap. Which, hand traps did exist in DM era Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like Charm Shapti and stuff like that. Mind on Air increased its defense a bit, gave it 16 attack. And now, not only does your opponent play with their hand reveal, their deck gets Convulsion of Natured. So this gives one more card in the game to kind of have that effect, which I think is kind of fun. Because now, like, you really know what your opponent's doing. As long as it's on the field. Mind Wipe. This just gets rid of the prerequisite of the hand size. Neo Akmador increases attack to 2200 instead of 1200. Nobleman Eater Bug destroys 3 instead of 2. Sandwich. When Fusion Summon, you add one from your deck to your hand. I've considered having it where it's like destroyed, which could definitely be an avenue. I just feel like if you're using all the resources to get this guy out, you kind of want more immediate advantage. And having its effect where it's like you can decide out of like the sand or which effect, I think is really good. Especially if you have one of those cards on the field and you get like a lot of searches, which is kind of the fun of the card, right? Graveyard of the Fourth Dimension. So now the 2 cards you target, you're allowed to add one back to your hand, and the other one goes to the deck, which makes it much better for level decks. And then Ultimate Insect level 1. So level 1 was level 0. I think it was level 1. It's not affected by spells and traps now, and you kind of its effect during the main phase, so you can normal summon it or special summon it in some way, and then special summon level 3 from your hand or deck. Because pretty much when you get to level 3, it's kind of hard to justify level 1 very much. So at least with this one, it gets you a way to kind of turbo into it. So that is Ancient Sanctuary and Solar Duelist in the first 20 minutes. So now we can get to Rise of Destiny. Hopefully we can get through Rise of Destiny and Flaming Eternity tonight. By the way, if anyone's enjoying this stream, whether live or post, definitely consider dropping a like. How's everybody doing tonight? Everyone doing good? Everyone having a good night? All right, Rise of Destiny. So the first card, Astral Barrier. I'm gonna kind of like scan through the card, kind of get a glimpse of it. Monster text field. That's probably fine. Yes, you should probably add a level clause to Graveyard Fourth Dimension, so super broken. Isn't there a level clause? You add one card. Well, but it has a colon, right? Doesn't that like mean to like add one? Because it targets the two cards and it tells you what to do with those cards, right? Or am I wrong? But this instant coffee I've been making, oh, that's actually really good. Add one level card to your hand and then shuffle it. So like add one level card to your hand and add one level card. Or it should be add one of something like this. I want to make sure I get this all right and rightly worded. I actually really like 18 Trap is supposed to use. It's basically like Mariokutai back from Labyrinth of Nightmare. Yeah, I like it. I don't. It's kind of nice. You can summon it and then like do your thing. I I really like Back to Square One. Like I had this in a lot of my decks back in the day. Like I kind of wish more people tried it out because it's hard to be like, well, maybe it should be like a quick play, kind of like Raigeki Break. Like Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, but maybe that makes it too similar because you can use it actively. I mean, maybe like quick play would make it. Making this a quick play might make it too similar to Wing Blast. I mean, it would give it slightly more utility. And we can still activate it proactively, which is the thing I kind of like about it. Yo, Lead Lover, what's up? Some feedback coming from your microphone on and off. Feedback. 1 second. Test, test, test. This is sounding a little bit better. I just unplug and replug my mic back in. I don't know, what do you think? Should Back to Square One be a quick play spell, or is it... I don't want to step on Wing Blast, but I do wish more people played it. I feel like making quick play would make it more playable. Because you still have to discard a card, right? Hmm. If Back to Square One was a quick... Because, like, why don't people play it? It's because Wing Blast, when that comes out in the next set, you can activate during your opponent's turn. So when they set stuff or summon things, you can just hit that thing right back. And you can chain it to backward destruction. This doesn't really have that. You know, let's just say this is a quick play. Now you just get a little more utility out of it. It's essentially just another Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. It does target a monster. Is Wing Blast? Let me... Yeah, Wing Blast is target. Okay, so this at least has to target a monster. So it does have some drawbacks in that regard. So I think I'm more fine making a quick play in that case. Because Wing Blast, Wind Blast is just a card. So fair enough. Ballista Rampart Smashing. I like the art. I like the little, I like the two guys here. This a little bit lower. Make this more even for y'all. Let's see. Active Espionage Monster increases attack equip monster by 1,500 points. I mean, it's... Okay, I know what I would change. This card should target any defense position monster, I think. Let me open up a Wikipedia here so I can copy effects easier. Because a lot of these I just, I only change like a couple wordings, which, if I can only change a couple wordings, that's like the best case scenario, because that just shows what like minor things these cards have that kind of ruins the fun. Attacks a defense position monster gains 1,500. Which makes it much more useful. Not that I would think like people would play it, but at least it doesn't matter like which like position the card's in. Like face up, face down. Big core. Do people play this in the spaceships deck, like in later formats? Don't know if I want to touch it at this moment in time. Bakochi. I like Bakochi because it's hard because it like works with Dekoichi, but I don't really want to start changing like I haven't touched normal monsters at all, so I might just keep with that. Otherwise, I probably would just like increase Bakoichi's defense to like 2K or something. I think. Actually, let's touch this train. The frightening car. Let's just give it 2,000 defense. Because I don't want to touch vanilla monsters, but this one is related to an effect. You can see the Sparking Zero gameplay everyone's posting. Sucks split screen was an afterthought. Well, at least we're getting it. Because I know it was a whole thing for a while that they wanted to add it, but they were basically told not to add it from like the bigger like game studio heads and stuff, like Sony and Xbox and what not from what I'm aware. So at least they're adding it. I didn't watch like everything. Like I watched like a couple of small things. Like I'm really excited about the game. Um, I'm excited to get like a cool story mode because I've been playing through fighters and that story mode is it's pretty rough. The gameplay is so good, but that story mode is something else. I'm almost itching for a good Dragon Ball experience. So I'm excited. It's cool that we're getting a little bit more because it was such a drought. Like we're getting drip fed stuff, and now we're actually getting a lot of information from it. I just want to see more of the roster. Really, that's like my big thing, and just more of like the pure gameplay and all the cool stuff we can do with it. Yeah, I'm very excited for it. It comes out the same month as Sonic X Shadow, which is funny. Chambers is like oh, what's that spell card? The one that like does like burn damage every time someone activates a spell. It's kind of like that. That's I mean, it's kind of funny. Or Shadow. I hope that game's really good too, because I really love Sonic Generations. Like I'm honestly contemplating buying both games that month, even though I like rarely buy games. Covering Fire, we got to fix for JDZ. Like I just hope that Shadow plays well because I know it's playing with a different engine. I just don't want it to feel too different from Generations, right? I hope they fix some stuff in Generations too. Some issues that I had with it beforehand, and not have it be an issue like the Colors HD, where that had a lot of additional issues with the game. So, I still want to see what happens with like more reviews stuff when the game comes out. But I like that they have that DLC for like the like polygonal Sonic. I'm hoping we get more stuff like that, and I'm hoping we get more DLC stages because that was the biggest missed opportunity from the first game. Like all we got was that Casino Night Pinball DLC. Like where were all the other stages we could have got? Like that game could have been a money printing machine, and they just didn't do it, and I will never understand that. Like all the people who want additional stages, like Egg Fleet and whatnot. Yeah, the Year of Shadow. Yeah, I don't even know when Sonic 3 comes out, like the movie. But I mean, from people who have played the Shadow Gen stuff, they say it's pretty good, right? It has a little more of a Frontiers thing to it, and just having like some more stages from other Sonic games, I think is pretty fun. Yeah, the Year Luigi. Hey, we got Doctor Luigi and Super Luigi U, whatnot. If your opponent attacks a monster at your side of the field, attack one monster by attacking one other face-up monster at your side field during the damage step. So, do we want to increase like that from like all of the from like your opponent's attacking monster? Because that way, well, I don't know if that makes sense though. That was the worst fiscal year at Nintendo. Man, that whole Wii U era was very rough. But they bounced back with the Switch. They bounced back and then some. But I mean, every console has like their own kind of weird. Like the PS3 was like definitely a. It wasn't as like Wii U bad, but it definitely was like a tough patch for PlayStation up until the last couple years. But at least with the Wii U, like they did get out a lot of great games, as we've seen. A lot of them were ported over to the Switch. Like a lot of the games, most of the good library, and they had a good virtual console too. And if you played Wii games, it was just a HD Wii, which was really cool. Also, and therefore a great modding machine if you're into that. So the idea with covering fire, it's like, all right, your own monster is like backing you up. So how do we make that better? Could be like all your monsters increase the attack of that monster by attack of all other face-up monsters on your side of the field. I don't know if that would make it like it would make it. I don't think it would make it playable, and I don't know how much better that would make it because it's still so situational, you know. Yeah, well, what do we do with covering fire? 'Cause it's a really cool card. I want to make it better. Any ideas from chat? A sacrifice effect? Mm, the whole point of the card is that another monster is like protecting you, like with its own attack. Like that's the idea of the card, right? Because if it's just like your like maybe like it doubles, um, like increases the attack and then doubles, but like that sounds like that would be wordy. Unless it's like something totally different, where it's like special summon a monster with higher attack from your hand and redirect the attack. That could be a way. But that also seems like that would be like a weirdly worded card and kind of awkward. Hmm. Summon a token you decide feel to be attacked. Possibly. I don't know if it feels like a token generator card though. It's kind of the thing. This one's tricky. Because like there's a couple other ideas that are floating around, but I feel like those are too modern for this card. If it says something like, you know, double the attack of your attack monster by the attack, that just sounds like that sounds weird. I feel like doubling, like adding and then doubling would be the way to go. But like, how would you word that? Because if you at least get like a significantly higher attack, that's like solid damage potentially. Almost making like a. I feel like then you have to like destroy the other monster because it'd be like a almost like a weird limiter removal. Let's pin this card for now. Let's go back to it. Creeping Doom mana. Traps can be activated. A bunch of cards are like that. The Kochi definitely fine. Divine Wrath is fine. All those similar cards. A Pseudo Ring Raigeki. Don't know how that makes much sense though. Like destroy monster on your field, destroy like another monster. Cause that's just a shitty Sakuretsu armor. I'm gonna make the elements up the same thing as I did with the other ones. I just increase their attack. Because their effects are usually good, just like their stats don't really. Yeah, I get what you mean. Like Raigeki Break. Like discard a card and then increase monster attack by that. That that could be interesting. Let's see how we can word that. Because it's all got to keep like the whole idea of like what the card's trying to do, the integrity of the card. Discard one monster from your hand. Doesn't need to be from your hand, just like discard one monster. And trap monster gain attack equals to that. Ascent. Monsters attack. So if we have something like this, so now the monster doesn't need to be on the field, so you can keep something like in the hand. So you could use like potentially like big monsters for this. I kind of like that. Yo, Sojima, what's up? Almost done with classic DM. Yep, we're doing Rise Destiny and Flame Eternity. This stream is the plan, and then we'll be done with the fixing stuff. Talking about this would be kind of busted. I don't know if that means necessarily busted. Discard a monster, and then that your attack monster gains attack equal to the set monster's attack during damage step only. I mean, how many cards do you really want to like use? Right? It's still a bit specific, especially compared to like better stuff like Sakuretsu armor is just better. But you potentially get more burn in this, which is kind of nice. And you do have to like send a monster in your hand. Oh, damage step only ring. That would be a little. Well, it's better and worse in some ways. Yeah, element source. Element source, I would argue the only good one. That's not even saying much. Again, increase that by 1700. I will say though, next stream or like next week's Janjo live, I do have an idea regarding GX cards, and I think it should be a really fun video, fun stream. So, because this guy would be like really good in fire decks, because then if he gets the fire boost, he gets 2200 attack, which is cool. I think. Flint, there's an OTK with that. Foxfire is a weird. I want to change Foxfire. During. Oh, by the way, I always gotta push this out. I got Patreon down there, advertising that $2 a month, get early access. You got a OCG video that's currently on there, not even up yet for people. But also I got a monthly goal, a funding goal for the channel. I have it very low right now because I'm just a little tiny channel. $10 for this month is my current goal. So if anyone feels generous, donate, throw a buck or two my way. Yeah, the element stuff are really cool. I like the idea behind them. Is just they don't always kind of synergize with the kind of stuff you'd play them in, and their stats are kind of bad anyway. Like you might see a source once in a while if you play like a really janky rogue fire deck, mainly because it can get to like a strong attack point. But all the other ones are like just usually not worth it. Hey, there's a lot of cool ones. Yeah, Element Soldier, Element Dragon. Like Dragon, I think just art wise might be my favorite. The Source is up there too. I mean, dragons and dinosaurs, you can't beat that. Fates destroy battle. Guardian side field. Yeah, so this guy's like like the early version of Treeborn Frog. Can we make this guy better without making him like Treeborn Frog, I suppose? What if we had to just be like prime fried food? Some Popeyes. I do like me some Popeyes. Let's see. We can definitely make this guy better. Let's see. During the end phase, this card was destroyed. Let's just say destroyed. So now it can be affected by card effects too. The GY. This turn. Let's get rid of its like. It would eventually get eroded to where it's like Aspie face up. Or no, it's worded a little bit differently. Like the damage step. It's kind of weird. This turn. Special summon this card from the GY. Let's say this cannot be tributed for a tribute summon. And here's the catch. Summon except the tribute or a tribute summon of a fire attribute. Does that sound right? Fried chicken used to be good. Now I just make my own. Honestly, like, yeah, I definitely like ever since I've been kind of like doing my own thing, like 4 years ago or so, and I've been cooking like at home like way more. My taste buds have definitely changed. Like there's a lot of times I'll go to places that I thought was once good, primarily like fast food places. I'm like, oh, this is kind of ass now. And in some places, you can tell they changed their recipes like over time. I feel like Burger King, KFC, like definitely beforehand, I was cooking my own stuff. I could tell that they were getting kind of crappier. Popeyes, I think, is one that kind of has remained to be like really good. In terms of fried chicken, I remember there used to be a really good fried chicken place. It's like more of a local place that I haven't had in like well over a decade or so. Maybe I should get some fried chicken this weekend. I do like fried chicken. I don't make fried food at home though. I don't mind getting that stuff out and about. Yeah, like you just got to find the places that are good. Places, whether it's places that you find good or just guilty pleasures. Like I almost got coffee this morning, and then I was just like, I'm just gonna make my own at home. I just got this like coffee machine and instant coffee. I got both because I just wanted to try some instant coffee recipes. Like just a couple weeks ago, I was almost gonna get a like a sandwich out, and then I was like, yeah, it's a little bit early in the day. I'm like, oh, I need to go to the grocery store anyway. I might as well just get the ingredients myself and just make it because then I could just make it for amount of days. And I do think sometimes like it tastes better if you go out, uh, just from like the sheer amount of food you kind of get. But it's just something about like making your own stuff is just kind of nice because you did it. You can really make everything very specific to how you like it. But what do you think? What do we think about this Foxfire effect? Or it doesn't need to be face up anymore. It doesn't need to be by battle, just by any sort of destruction. And then you contribute it for a fire attribute monster. So now it works, synergizes a little bit more with fire monsters specifically. So we made it a bit better, but also made it a little bit better in regards to fire monsters. Um, not that there's really like a ton that are great with it. Maybe like Yamato Dragon or something, but yeah, like it's not a treeborn frog, but we just unlocked it a little bit more, especially for fire decks that would like to run it. That's fine. That's fine. Fine. Gaia Soul's an interesting one. 'Cause I like the idea of this guy, right? It's a giant, like, exploding fireball, and that's why it has high attack, but also, like, explodes. It's a chicken nugget with an eyeball. Yeah, popcorn chicken. I do like popcorn chicken, but sometimes it can be a bit much. Show up to 2 pyro monsters on your field, increase attack by potentially to 4,000, and he does piercing, and then he destroys during the end phase. Like it's kind of nutty, right? Like I don't know if this guy needs to be changed. Like he doesn't even need piercing, but like he's essentially just made to be this like giant punch. Remove the 2 monster limit. Ooh. So what's up, DG? Just for fun. I mean, if this guy's whole thing that he like it, it's not if he uses effect destroy his card during the end phase. It's just this guy pops, so you have to use him like right away. That's that's a little nutty, right? If you pop fire might be a bit more fair if we like up the limit or reduce the limit. We did fire attribute. Hmm. I'll at least bump it up to 3. I feel like 4 is a little bit too strong. But fire attribute definitely makes it better because that opens up to a much wider variety of cards. Because now you can get up to 5,000 attack, which is very strong. But you're also losing like a lot of resources for it. So if you're gonna do that, you might as well like give it a little more. uh, more options for just popping big things. But I don't know. 5,000 sounds like a lot, though. Yeah, maybe 2 just fire attribute might just be better. Because it also does piercing damage, right? You get up to 4,000 attack. It's already like really high, let alone like 3,000 for a normal summonable monster. Because it's up to 2. It's not 2. Like this, like they honestly gave this card a lot more than I think people kind of give it credit for. Like it's up to 2. It does piercing damage. Like they could have made this card worse very easily. Harpy Girl. Really, one's fine. 2 is fine because it's like a Mystic Swordsman. 3 is the one no one plays, though. Why is that? Because it stops stuff it attacks from. What if we just made this kind of like a marauding captain or like a command knight or something, right? Where it's I'm just gonna copy marauding captain's effect here. Where it's like winged beast. Because this kind of keeps its like identity of like stopping attacks, and you can create a lock with it if you have 2 on the field. Potentially, we could do something like that. Because Harpy Lady 1 already increases stats. Harpy Lock. Exactly. Because Command Knight's the thing where it's like if your opponent, or if you control another monster, you can't attack Command Knight. We could potentially make it where it's like if you control another Harpy monster, monsters your opponent control cannot target this card for attacks. That's another way we could go about it. I don't know what would be better, doing like the Marauding Captain or the Command Knight thing, right? It's like the red or blue. Because we could just make Harpy Lady, you can't target Harpies, but Wing Beast is a little more of a wide variety, which makes it a little bit better. Although it's, the thing with like, it's all wind monsters. So maybe it should be wind. As I noticed, it's just wind, not wind attribute, which is probably how it's like some of these probably should be worded. Except for a fire monster. Ah, there we go. So now 3 protects wind monsters. Gives it a little bit of protection. Because part of me wants to give it like a full on Marauding Captain thing, but then it would just be just copy paste Marauding Captain. That's a bit unfair. Especially when we start to get more Harpy cards. Like Chandler and Queen and whatnot. Uh, Mm, mine Hacksaws does not need a cost because it's a single use trap card, right? And it doesn't do anything otherwise. So why even give it a cost? Like it just gives you information like that's it. Mirage Dragon's cool. I don't know how I'd like to make this card a little bit better, but it's like I feel like if you bumped up its attack, it might be too annoying. Because like its lower attack is kind of a drawback of its effect. Moki Moki is gimmick, more or less. Swordsman level 6. I was gonna change Swordsman level 4 Soul Duels, but I ended up not touching it. But I was looking at that originally. Which, like, level 6. Because the reason why I didn't want to change level 4 is because it's 1900 attack, it's 4 stars, as it was essentially just like if I remove restriction, it would essentially just completely replace level 2, which didn't I don't want to do that. And I don't want to like reduce his attack either because it's a level monster. And what does like this guy do? Well, this guy can be tribute summoned normally, and he just immediately destroys the face down, and potentially like stacking it. I have not. I really need to like force myself to like start a new series, and it's hard. It's been a very busy week though. I will say that much. I did get some new Blu-rays in today though, as well as I borrowed a couple from a friend. Uh, well, some DVDs. But I got some Blu-rays I want to watch. I've been getting through like movies and stuff. Um, I don't remember if we said though if I should read the manga or watch like the anime. Um, I feel like the consensus was watch the modern anime. I just never got around to it. Yeah, I think level 6 is probably fine. Even like next like this card's fine. It's kind of like a fun little effect. Penguin's fine. Perfect Machine King. No one plays Perfect Machine King, but I don't see how like we could just like I don't see how you'd make it better because it already has high attack and a good increase. You just watch first episode 99 for context later down the line. Oh, did anyone see that in my Discord? Shout outs to Necromancy for Kids in my was it general? No, Yu-Gi-Oh chat channel. Um last night there was a Yu-Gi-Oh like 1999 movie that there was a rush print that like someone released like a film scan, and it is just like it is clean scan of essentially like a quick little like not like a trailer but like hey look at this cool thing. It's really good. I was looking into a lot of different like this morning I was looking a lot into a lot of different uh rips and stuff of the 99 Yu-Gi-Oh movie. I have like 3 different ones downloaded, and I kind of want to take a look at like the difference between like the quality of those. I think that's fascinating. But yeah, watch first episode 99 down the line, then watch 2011. I feel like I would just well, why not just start with the original, like with the 2011 one? Because like obviously they're gonna look different. I feel like Perfect Machine King needs like a some way to special summon himself, right? It's like no one even runs like normal Machine King. So I almost want to kind of make this guy like a boss monster almost, right? Like something involving the original Machine King, where normal Machine King, right? One tribute, 20 attack, gains 100 attack. It's kind of whatever. So maybe we have it where it's like Neo Daedalus. Uh, Ocean Dragon Lord. Where it's this card can be special summoned by tributing one Machine King. And then we give it its like perfect Machine King effect. So now we give it like another way to bring it out. That's a little bit easier. So you can tribute essentially you do tribute like you do tribute two monsters, right? One for Machine King and then one for himself, but you don't need two on the field at least. It's kind of hard to explain without spoiling, but the first episode 99 has a character that was omitted from 2011. Important for the main character. Is the 99 one like is that character exclusive to that show? Like is he from the manga or is he something else? People play this card. Well, shout out to the new metal. I feel like I say this every time I talk about Metamorph. I'm like, oh, they should make a Metamorph archetype. And I saw like last night or this morning that they're actually making a Metamorph archetype. I am super excited. That's been like the thing I've been asking for ages, seemingly. Now they're actually doing it. I feel like Metamorph. This one could definitely be a little bit better. The character literally shapes the main character's aspirations. Yeah, but like, is he from the manga? I think that's an important thing to distinguish. Like, is it just like a made up character, right? Like, is it true to Takahashi's original? Not Takahashi. Takashi's original vision. I feel like probably shouldn't be just machine monsters, right? Because it's Metal Morph on your side of the. Or so let's word it like this because it's a continuous trap on your side of Oh, he's canon. 2011 did a weird. They did a weird. Why would they remove a character from the manga? That's weird. Also negate effects targets that target the monster. So this just like so now we're giving this a full blanketing spell protection. Um, so now it's not machine only and a better spell protection. Bam, better. People don't. I feel like I always get this card confused with like was it the baby version people sometimes play? He comes in later, but nobody would care to think what he means to the story. But why would they do that though? I wonder. Like, what is their reasoning for that? Because they thought it was better. Was Tagashi like, oh, this is I prefer they did this instead. The problem with this card, like it's yeah, if it gets discarded, it gets like comes back, but then it's like you're still losing advantage. Rock from the Valley of Haze. Oof. I think with this guy, he should just return back to your hand. The fandom also feels it was kind of whack to do that too. Overworked JP storyboarder. So if you watch like the first episode, that's all you need from that is just, like that specific context. Like you'd be fine just skipping the rest of it. This card. Would this be too broken if it just comes back to your hand? I mean, it's like it's a tribute monster, so it's like you know you can just special summon it. That might be too strong though. Yeah, because then you can just like keep discarding it for like any effect. How do we make this guy better? Huh. Yeah, I'll have to get on that. I just need to find a way to watch it. I don't have all these subscription services. How does this guy get better without making him broken? What was the baby one? I'm pretty sure there was a baby one, right? I just don't remember what it was. Baby Rock. Literally just Baby Rock. Okay, when I send from the hand to the graveyard, you can special summon it. Like I've seen like some like in other videos like that they talk about like reference to something else. Just like how like cool like the 90s version looks compared to the 2011 one. But I'd be down to watch if it's just like the first episode. I think that's perfectly reasonable. 9 anime. Is that like a free anime site? For free? All right, I'm gonna pin this. I'll save this in my bookmarks. I'll jump on that. Like, what if we gave this guy just like, because the baby one, if it's sent to the graveyard, it special summons itself. So if this had like a despair from the dark effect, graveyard by an opponent's effect. You can stream 2011 on anything. YouTube has it too. Whoa. Well, that's a good thing. So if you had this kind of be like almost like a one tribute, so like a halfway point between like fear from the dark and despair from the dark. Except this card does not work from the deck though. I think that's fine. Like a middle point between like those two cards. Gives more people reason to play a freaking wind monster. All right, moving on. That's probably fine. Sasuke is fine. Zero Spell is fine. Silent Swordsman level 3. Can't be targeted by spell cards from phase. Yeah, it's level 3. It's a very basic monster. This is the same thing as Malicious, whatever it's called. Carnet's fine. The creator, I pretty much just want to get rid of its like can't be special summon from the graveyard thing because that really sucks. Like, let's just get rid of that like weird camp because I think I kind of get it. That's supposed to be this like, you know, more holier creature, but it's like fuck that. Thessie's fine. Tragedy. Bionicle vibes. He kind of does. I do like Bionicle. I remember when Bionicle was first out. Can I score when opponents on your side? Do people play Tragedy at all? Mm, that's fine. Triangle Ecstasy Spark. This card sucks, right? Just bumps up like one monster by a lot of attack and until the end of the turn and just prevents traps from being activated. Origin Zero, what's up? Yeah, its main issue is that, but it does have the issue is like, well, what if they change more? But then it is like it's a free pop, really, right? If they're on the defensive. So it's very specific, but I get what they're going for. Because like if you took that first part out where it's destroy all defense position monsters on your opponent's side of the field, then that would be kind of broken. Like it essentially punishes your opponent from like to try and be safe. Because the problem is like when if it activates when you change like your own positions, then it's like it's almost too out of your opponent's hands kind of thing. Like the whole point, like it's a tragedy, right? It's like, oh, you think it's one thing and it turns out to be a whole other thing. That's kind of the idea of the card, right? So yeah, because I don't think this card is like could be opposed to being a change. I just don't. I can't even think of like what that would even be. Hmm. What about this? I just thought of something. Also, I do have the lost art of this too, which is kind of cool. So let's slap on this effect real quick, and then we'll just get rid of this, honestly, because now if they want like Book of Moon or Tsukuyomi like their own card, then that doesn't matter because now it's like any defense position. Which I mean, it doesn't make the card like great or anything, but it at least gives you more options to use it on, which is good. So thank you, Origin Zero, for letting me kind of go back on that card. And again, if there's any cards like I change and you look at these things and you're like, oh, that could be better or whatever, then more than happy to do that. Now this card is kind of weird because it's like with Dark Magic Attack and Burst Stream and Inferno Fire Blast, it's all like a specific boss monster, right? So this kind of has to work with Harpy Lady Sisters, in which we already have one that destroys the back row, we have one that destroys monsters, one that does burn damage. So the idea of this one is that it freezes traps and increases attack. So that's what we're working with here. So the question is, how do we make this worthwhile? Because Harpy Lady Sisters, people still play the card, even like the occasional like modern Harpy stuff, but it's like, yeah, that's kind of the problem is Harpy Lady Sisters. So we kind of almost have to like overcorrect this, right? It's like, what do you do, right? Like if you increase attack by a ton, then it's almost that's too silly as like a card, right? If you're like, oh, increase it to 4,000 attack, and it's like cards don't do that. So what if it was something where it's like until the end of the turn, the attack of all lady sisters. Let's not have currently on the field. Yeah, I'm thinking of making it 3,000. Becomes 3,000. Each Sharply Scissors can attack up to 3 times. And then the trap crap. So now what we're doing is that we're increasing it by ever so slightly. I don't want to go over 3,000. You can activate this. You can. It's not just ones on the field. Like so, like you can summon one after this card's activated. And then they can attack up to 3 times. So it's almost like a blackluster soldier in a way, and it freezes traps too. So now it's like each harpy, essentially gets their own attack, hence the 3 attack thing. So now you can destroy more cards. Like it doesn't make it like great, but now if you get Harpy Lady Sisters, now you get like a even if you have one that's 3K attacks, like you could potentially OTK with that. And it still fits within like the theme of like Harpy Ladies. Like it's a cool card. I mean it's a freaking was it like a super rare in this? Yeah, super rare slash ulti. Yeah, it's worth trying out. And that's kind of the point of this, right? Let's see. During standbys. This one's a little tricky because I fixed level 1 where it's now you can activate it like right away. So level 3, God, I don't think we'll get to Flaming Eternity tonight. Honestly, yeah, I like the end point of the ultimate insects when you get to like the like the level 5 and so like they're not bad, especially if you can get like if you can level them up to get to their effects. Like the whole idea is that they start really weak, but they constantly keep growing in like really powerful effects. Uh, I almost need to look. I need to look at level 5. Because level 5 is pretty good. Especially someone off of this and your post monster lose 500 attack. And during your standby phase, you can send it to Graveyard to summon the other one. Because I have level 1 where it's not standby phase anymore. But it's like you can't really do that with level 3 because with level 3, essentially you just, because then you just go like bam, bam, bam. So unless we had this be like an end phase one, but that almost feels too fast. So like your next standby phase does make sense, given you're going to get out a 2300 monster. Because like with its 300 thing, then all of a sudden monsters with 1600 attack can't beat over it, which is a fairly common stat. So that said, I wonder if this card even necessarily needs fixing. And I don't know if it does. Hmm. It's probably fine. Woodborg, Zing. And that's that. So I say let's even if we don't finish Flaming Eternity, like I'll finish it off stream, but let's just do as much as we can. I think. Exit that. Who here likes Flaming Eternity? Also, if anyone's enjoying the stream, consider dropping a like or engage in whatever way possible. It's kind of cool we got like this far. Like looking at all these cars, we've been like, there's a lot of cars we're fixing. Potentially they're like you could even do more if you really want to get like in the weeds of some of it, but we're being relatively reasonable with this. It'd be cool if we got to 10 likes, by the way. Like we only got 6 likes. We're an hour and a half in. Ah, water went down my shirt. Oh god. Oh god. Ugh, that feels weird. This card looks really cool. Abare Ushioni. Abare. Toss a coin. If you call it right, like 1,000. Call it wrong, you take 1,000. I mean, it's. I think this card just needs higher attack. Because effects, like, it's kind of fun, but it's like. With its low attack, it's almost why even bother. Like, at least make it 15. 15. At the very least. Feather Phoenix. That's. Well, I think calling wrong. Well, I think the 1,000 is kind of the fun of it, right? Is that it is like the random, like who takes 1,000. Like it's not particularly good, but that's kind of the fun of the card. And giving it some stats to at least let it remain on the field for more than a turn is better. Feather of a Phoenix. Like it's not like we already have. Yeah, like it was playing DDT stuff. Don't need to play that. Spend K, Assault on GHQ. It's like one monster side of the field. Activate this card. Destroy cards and the cards opponent stick to the graveyard. That's. I like the idea. It's a bad card, but I like the idea. Assault on GHQ. THQ. It's in the game. Yeah. -2 to mill 2, and like milling's typically pretty bad. Like I mean I could see some like really weird card coming out that this like synergizes with, but how about this instead? Uh Let me switch to. By the way, I saw some like really cool Yu-Gi-Oh merch that's like $800. Does anyone want to spot me like $800? I kind of want to sell some stuff for it, but it's really cool. How about this? Target monster control. And if you do, the targeted monster cannot attack this. No, that doesn't. No, that's. I was gonna say it doesn't attack. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense because it's a trap card. So, like I got a really good deal on this freaking Rise of Destiny banner back here, and I'd be surprised if I ever see stuff like that again. Yeah, yeah. I was gonna make this like where it's monster cannot attack the turn, but yeah, if it's a trap card, that doesn't matter, so we can't do that. That makes it a little trickier. And I don't want to just make this into like a spell card because that's completely different card. It's one thing to make a card like a like a quick play or continuous or whatever. What if it was some? Okay, hear me out. What if it was something like this? Um, how would I word this? No, that'd be bad because I'm thinking like, what if it was like you can tribute as many monsters on your field as you want, and then like mill for each card sent. But that almost seems worse. Like you could potentially do up to 5, but you're also losing like 5 cards. Like you could send one monster, but then you'd also only mill one. What? All right, okay, chat. What if this was a continuous trap? What if it adds back to the hand? Hmm. Back to the hand, you can actually do some like interesting shenanigans with that, right? So instead of destroying it, it bounces it. Turn that card back to your hand. Because then you at least sort of recycle a card. I don't hate that. Especially if it's like if your opponent's like attacking to one of your monsters. And you can reuse something like Breaker. Yeah, like you're still like it's still kind of like a minus, but it's you get more options to like mess around with stuff with it. Like a nice little safe callback. Soul Swap is fine. Behemoth is fine. Mammoth is fine, I'm pretty sure. Play Rabbit, Blast Magician. Yeah, there's a lot of neat cards. I really dig Flaming Eternity as a set. It's a cool send off to this. Brainjacker. Flip this card. I feel like it's something we've talked about. Or we've had the hell's this card? Yeah, like Drag Manipulator, Shadow Tamer, they'll like take control of a monster. I know this is definitely a card like we've oh god, what's going on? Ugh. I it's definitely a card we were looking at a while when I was doing my tier list. With a single tweak, it could be a solid effect. What would that tweak be? I think the main thing is like the problem is like it's like the damage step, right? Or if it didn't have that, where it said like damage step not applied. Yeah, the problem is the damage step. So if it was worded like this, right, where we just like kind of flat say like, all right, do not apply the damage step. Kisetai. Did we fix? Did we do anything with Kisetai? We did not. Because I think because I think part of it was because of like Brainjacker existing. Because like the problem with fixing some cards is that Yu-Gi-Oh does have cards that are sort of fixed versions of older concepts. So we have it where it's like, all right, you do not use the damage that it flips, and its effect will activate. Then you can control a monster. I think that's like the biggest change right there, right? Is that one specific thing? There's a lot of because the thing with DM era Yuga, there's a lot of stealing cards, but like 8 out of 10 of them suck, which is unfortunate, right? You got Snatch, Seal, Mind Control, Brain Control. Like, is that it? Catnip Kitty cannot attack another beast monster inside the field. Essentially, like our new Harpy Lady too. Zero, make the defense 0 to the end phase. Oh, change of heart. Yeah, there you go. And then we also got like was it Invader of the Throne Room? Invader of the Throne, which we made it into like a creature swap instead. And then like the other LON was it LON or LOD? Yeah, Dragon Manipulator. Like we made them that and Shadow Tamer. We made it not flip monsters because their effects are already so specific. But how could we forget about Change Heart? So I think we've done a good job of like making them all feel a little bit different than each other. And Brainjacker is certainly the most pure of them. Um, like this card's like it's just a cute little kitty. So like yeah, you don't really want to raise its stats because it's that's the idea. Some cards are supposed to be weak. Maybe as cards just it is what it is. Maybe that's all there is to it. This card cannot be attacked with a beast monster. I mean, I get what they're going for. Centrifugal feel. If your monster choice at graveyard select. Yeah, because the whole idea behind Catnip Kitty is that like you have like a really strong behemoth, King of Beasts or whatever. And your opponent's trying to like defend, then you have this guy out. You normal summon Catnip Kitty, and all of a sudden you can just like break through. Because not only is it 0, but if you have monsters with like piercing damage and stuff, it just like hits right through. So it's a weird support card. It's not good, but it's it has a function. If you must destroyed by a card effect, summon. Oh, we can make this more generic, surely, but don't call me Shirley. Google field destroyed by an yeah. I'm gonna make it when it's destroyed by an opponent's card. So that just makes it better, right? Because if you're putting all this work for a fusion monster, at least when it's just like your opponent stops, you get some sort of resource back. Chiron's good. Cross counter. I think all these cards. This is just like an evolution of like Destruction Punch, right? So, uh, DD Dynamite. It's 300 fine. I know I increased Cemetery Bomb to 300. I don't know if is this worth bumping up to like 500, or is that too much? Dynamite. I think yeah, Dynamite's fine. Deck Dev's fine. Ragnarok Elemental Burst. Hmm. This would be cool if it like this doesn't work with Doriado, which is interesting. Uh, Kind of out instead of attributing them. Yeah, that's certainly an improvement. How would that be worded? Elemental burst. View control one each of blah 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 blah. I mean, yeah, it's tough, but you do get it is destroys all of their cards. Something like that. Control one each of fire monsters. Destroy all cards on your opponent's side to the field. Honestly, crazy thought. Crazy thought here. What if it was almost like a Chaos Emperor dragon, where it did this instead? Send as many cards in your hand. Now, what do you think about this? We're not. It's not only their field, but their hand too. Because it's already hard to get like 4 different attributes on the field, right? And have a trap set. Now it just wipes them out completely, which I would say is worth the effort of having this really slow game. That's kind of I like my nutty cards. Element Doom. This guy looks badass. Just I'm just gonna do the same thing as the other ones. Just increase their stats. It makes them more considerable when they have decent beater stats. Element of Valkyrie. Firebird. This card looks really cool. It's like a little baby Sacred Phoenix almost. Her with the crazy pose. Oh yeah, the like completely non-realistic pose. It's like she's like her butt's like out to here. Her arms like bent weirdly, like unrealistic freaking Pippi Longstocking. Charween Beast monster try to destroy creatures by 500 points. I mean, that's kind of weird. Like, I feel like this guy. I think he should start with 1500, and his defense should start at like 18, because it feels like the kind of card that you would want to set it. Like you have more of an option for it to get higher attack, but you can also have it in defense and kind of with higher defense and kind of slowly rack up attack. That at least gives it like dual options. For like when you draw into it, right? Like, do you want to set it be as like a slight defender, or do you want to like just jump into the attack kind of thing? Because if you crash like a monster, then it gets like 2K. That's much better. Flame Ruler is fine. Score one card from your no trap activates at the end of the turn. This is very much like trap stun, is it not? Where it just negates all the other traps. I feel like if we got rid of the discard one card, then it just becomes essentially becomes trap stun. Except for that trap stun like negates, and this just prevents activation. So like stuff like Ultimate Offering could still, or like Ultimate Offering or Roll Oppression, like anything continuous that's already on the field would still activate, or would still be able to be used rather. Yeah, so I almost feel like this card is kind of like we could make it just not activated, and then it would just be like a slightly crappier trap stun. Because some cards are just like unfortunately just outclassed. So that might be fine. It might be too close to trap stun. I don't know. Because trap stun is just like really good. It's really freaking good. But like if it's already like you just discard a card anyway, the card already exists, so whatever. Yo, Hustler, Horse, Rudiger, what's up? Bonjour. Uh, it's essentially just a Prima for rituals, which is fine. Do people play this card in decks? Have there been any like top decks with this? No, because I wonder what this card would be like if it's like bypasses like the ritual thing. Oh yeah, if it was not a cost. Yeah, that's a lot of cards. Um, would this? Because this card would be better if it's just like it just summons a ritual from the graveyard, like, and it doesn't care if it's been like properly summoned first. Well, I'm saying like if we made it like that, would that be broken? Probably if you get stuff like relinquish and demise and stuff like that. Maybe, but maybe not. Because otherwise, yeah, it's essentially like because if you guys got summon it normally, then just run Prima, right? Because otherwise, yeah, because it's just like the exact same thing. And also banishes like afterwards too. Yeah, Herald of Perfection. But those cards already have like plenty good stuff with it. Um, ignoring summon condition. I don't know how to word this correctly. Ignoring some summon condition. Equip it. Something like that. I do this card paying out 800 life, start one virtual monster graveyard, special summon it, ignoring summoning Ignoring summon condition and equip it with this card. It's probably fine. Gat Nassie's fine. Gearfried's really cool. I wish more people played Gearfried stuff in like DM era. Because it's honestly like it's good. Like it's honestly pretty good. Right? Just 2 cards to get this guy out. Ignoring its summoning condition. I'm glad I'm live streaming this. Like some of this I can figure out on my own, but like other things I'm like, God, I don't know. Yeah, and like equip card, like not only get the equip card, but you also get a free pop with it. Like he's good. It's just as unfortunate with just other cards that exist. Yeah, we get all these other like gear free stuff, but the Sword Master stuff, like the uninhibited version, you don't really get much of. Like there's Guilford the Legend. Does he count as one? I don't know. Hyena. Um, there's other cards like this, but we can make it ever so slightly better. Just let it summon from like honestly deck or hand. I was gonna say graveyard, but that would be like that would create a loop. Did GF work with traps that equip? I think just any equip cards, right? From your hand or deck. Because now you can brick into it, which is nice. Yeah, Majorum is usually better because it's a dark, it's a fiend, it burns, it just has like better attributes all around. But at least having where this doesn't brick is good. Kangaroo Champ. Monster battles, this card change defense position. That's kind of funny. Let's have it where they can't change their battle position afterwards either. Because it is funny how it's like, it's weak, but causes a downside to your opponent. And cannot change its position. Something like that. I feel like it could be worded better. Monster battles with the cards change position after damage calculation and cannot change its battle position. As long as it is face up on the field. Is that worded correctly? Wording in Yu-Gi-Oh is so important. See, as much like issues and annoyances and like the linguistic challenges of Yu-Gi-Oh, I really like how Yu-Gi-Oh does have so much you can do in the game. That's why I really like it. There's no other card games like it. Majugire Panda. Long remains faithful on the field channel beside Monster Story. So this is the same thing as Firebird. This guy's an angry guy. I feel like we just copy paste the stats because it's the exact same idea. Mechadog Marin. Uncensored one's card. Yeah, that card is scary in its OCG art. Okay. Sorry about that. When this card is shows inflict 1,000 damage, both players' life points. The field destroys Nigger except for so by card effect, your opponent takes 1,000. That's kind of interesting. I mean, either way, your opponent's taking 1,000. I think this guy just needs higher defense. Come up to like I don't know 16 sounds fair. Sounds reasonable to me. Meteor of Destruction. This card, I think it's balanced. 1,000's a good chunk of damage, and you don't want to like OTK with it, or kill them at 3K. Penalty game. The thumbnail. Of this I love this card. He's even got an exclamation point. It's also named after Yami Yugi's thing. Penalty game. Also got Invader of Darkness on there too. That's cool. I think the main thing with this that I would change. 8 likes. We're almost at 10 likes. That's exciting. Is make it more of like a trap dust shoot thing, like requirement. JoJo's menacing. Oh, so you're approaching me. Yeah, it should be like a dust shoot thing. Because honestly, I don't think it's really that bad. Um, just because like how often is your opponent like at the time when you want to do dust shoot, there's a good chance that they're gonna end up with 4 cards in their hand. Like if they set a card, you can chain it. Like I don't think it's you know 4 or more cards in their hand for one of these effects. Because like preventing them from using back row or like not drawing during the next draw phase, like they're good effects. If you're losing, yeah, but you can say the exact same thing with trap dust shoot though. I mean, trap dust shoot, yeah, it's better. It gives you more information and you can kind of do more with it. But the game still has a lot of good stuff. I don't think it's as hard to activate. I feel like as some people give it credit for. I mean, look, this has come from the guy who has been saying like, "Hey, Fiend Mega Cyber," and then freaking Mr. Big Noodle, had that zombie deck with Fiend Mega Cyber. And also, people like, maybe cards like it's a little bit better than people gave it credit for. But yeah, I mean, Trap Dust Shoot is kind of notorious for being like absolutely horrendous late game, right? Even if this isn't as good, I'm just saying, people complain about Chaos Turbo, but they don't want to try a penalty game. That's all I'm saying right now. You know what I mean? Poison Fangs. This is cool. It's like Beast Fangs from LOB, but deadly. This card could do more burn damage. It's kind of interesting, though, that's not even like an equip. It's a continuous. Should it be 800 or 1,000? I wonder. Also, it's cool that it's like has like a more of a purpley color to it instead of green in the OCG. That'd be a cool lost art. 800 seems more fair since it's a continuous spell. If it was like an equip, I could see the argument for 1,000. And honestly, it's really interesting that they did not make it equip, even though it's like a essentially a counterpart card, right? But since it can affect like any monster, 800 seems more fair. But again, if it was an equip spell, I probably would say 1,000. Pole position. This card is already freaking nutty. Refusion. So this is like the same thing as fulfillment. And as such, we'll basically just make it the same. I mean, it's going to be harder to like for the ignoring summoning conditions, but it can come up, right? If you like metamorphosize something. Um, when Gale Dogger comes out, you can use it with that, technically speaking, or like Cyberstein. Uh, yeah, like it's just copy paste. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. At least gives it a little more options to use it with cards, which is good. More revival is always nice. That's fine. Rescue Cat. This card kind of sucks. No, I'm just kidding. Shadow Slayer. This guy looks cool. It's Dark Assailant with a Cubone mask. See, like this makes so much sense, right? If the only cards on your opponent's monster zones are defense, like this is what freaking Black Tyranno and that one other card should have just been like, where it's just monster cards. Like honestly, yeah, it has relative attack given its direct attacking capabilities. It's not the only cards on their field. It's not face up or face down. I don't have a problem with Shadow Slayer. It is designed surprisingly well, even if no one's probably gonna play it. Honestly, the only thing I might even consider would be making it like a freaking level 3. So you can play it in like those stun decks. That would probably be the only thing I would slay. Because that would make it a little bit more like function. It makes it function more in those specific decks. Yeah, and it's kind of rare I actually do change a monster's level. Like, what was the last time I changed a monster's level? This might be the first time. Maybe I don't know. No, okay, we changed some. We changed Performance of Sword. We changed Dokuro Rider. We changed Invitation to a Dark Sleep. Sword Hunter. Change Aitsu. We changed Gorg the Strong. And that's it. So yeah, it's sparingly, but we did it a few times. Yeah, exactly. Combos with level limit, combos with messenger apiece. It works with those like clown control decks too. Yeah, it's good. Silent Swordsman level 5. Unfavored by spell cards. Um I need some level 7, which I is level 7 goat legal? I don't think so. I think that was a video game promo. I could be wrong. No, yeah, it's legal. February 2005. I think I'm thinking about Silent Magician. I think that's what I'm thinking of. That's came out like slightly too late. 7 Trials of Glory, February 15th, 2005. Actually, let me. Yeah, I'll check format library real quick. Yep, level 7 is legal. It's Silent Magician that isn't. Yeah, cool. Um, yeah, so the whole thing is that they're unaffected by spell. Like, is like the whole thing that they affect spell cards. Or level 3, which was in the last set, which we did not adjust at all. Oh no, they're both Rise of Destiny. Or no, right? Yeah, Rise of Destiny last set. What am I talking about? Yeah, he negates targeting spell cards. This guy's just unaffected by them, which is kind of the same thing. Well, I guess it's non-targeting also, which is a step up. And if you attack directly, then you can. The attacking directly part is kind of the weak part about it. Should just be something better. During your next standby phase after this card, uh, maybe just inflicts battle damage. Because level 7's whole shtick that negates all spell effects on the field. So it's like a Horus, basically. And then level 3 needs to it just needs to survive during the standby phase. Honestly, I think this guy can just have the same thing, honestly. Right, if he survives like an additional turn during your next standby phase. Because level 3 is during next standby phase, you can send this card. So why not just keep it the same for this guy? Like, I don't think his effect needs to change at all. It's just a summoning condition for level 7 should just be a bit easier. You know, don't need to make the card broken or meta or anything, but just make it more playable. Have people played Spell Absorption? I don't recall. I think this is one of the cards I always forget about that like people play or not. Maybe I get mistaken. Uh, Nothing on top decks. In which case, let's fix it. I don't think it should like benefit your opponent at all. Or maybe it should. I would make it like kind of like was it what the frick what was the freaking card? Like crap, what was the one that like those two cards that's like every time an opponent activates a spell card burns 1,000. Every time a player activates a spell card burns 1,000. Um but if it's your own each time a spell card is activated, gain 800. That seems ever so slightly better. 1,000 might be broken, especially if it's like a spell card. But 800 seems like to be like seems to be a happy medium. I could see a world where 1,000 works, I guess, but don't know. Thing to do is gather your mine or 2 table of contents. Yeah, we did approve gather your mine as well. Because instead of 500, like if you activate 3 toon table of contents, um, that's what, like 2400 instead of 1500. So like that adds up. On top of other cards. People still play Spiral Spear Strike. I actually really like Swords of Concealment. It's another card I wish more people played. Big March of Animals. All beast type monsters, so I have about 200 for each beast type. So if you have like 3 beast monsters, that's plus 600. We could probably slightly increase. I don't think people play this card. The Big March of Animals. No. We could probably make this 300 or 3 or 400. I don't. It's like I don't want to make it like too broken. Um, 'Cause if you have 300, then like uh, if you have like 2 beast monsters instead of 400, it's 600. If you have 3 beast monsters, it's 900 instead of 600. But if we made it 400, then if you have 2, it's 800, 3, 1200, 4, 16. 5, everything gains 2000 attack, which is very, very scary. So if you have like a 15 maximum, and that's a lot of beast type monsters, you'd have to like gather for that. Is that too much? It's better. It's better than having it be 1,000. So I think I would settle for 300. The Hexio fusions are fine. I don't see any inherent problem. They're any roar insect. Let's up level that decrease by 500. When did level 7 come out? Lost Millennium, which we're not doing Lost Millennium because that's a GX set. Yeah, the hexes are really cool. I really like the Fusion Gate deck in Goat format, even though it's it's rogue as all hell. It's a very casual deck, but I really like that. I think it has really cool stuff going on with it. I think level 5 is fine, honestly. Like it's good as like a 1 tribute insect, and it has a good like level up effect when you get to it. And level 7's even better. Whirlwind Prodigy. It's fine. And that's Flaming Eternity. I do though. We're not quite done yet. I think we got a little extra time. I want to do like etc. So additional promo cards. We've done a little bit. At least like early on we did anyway. We did TP1, TP2, and like the structure decks. So this time do any promos or structure deck cards. If we can think of it, let's do it. And I think I can think of a couple. Silent Swordsman level 7. I'm just gonna put it over here. Sorry if it looks a little janky, but I don't have like all these cards like immediately on hand. Do we want to fix? Do we want to make him more like Horus? Where level 8 negates the activation, because it kind of sucks that it also stops your own. Right, instead. So 8 likes. We're so close to 10. We're so close to 10 likes, guys. Come on. Come on. Yeah, like might as well give you like an alternate horsey thing, right? I play a smoke card activated. Yeah, just make him Horus, but a warrior. Vampire Genesis. That's what comes to mind as well. Where it's a really cool card, but like I like it in regards to that it's essentially Vampire Lord, but with good attack, right? Did we change Vampire Lord? I don't think we did. Now we changed Patrician of Darkness. This was Dark Crisis. Yeah, we gotta change Vampire Lord. Give this guy at least 2100 attack. He needs to beat over defenders. But anyway, yeah, Vampire Genesis. Like he has good attack, and that's basically the only thing that's really going for him. So what do you want to do with Vampire Genesis? Let's see. Gotta banish a Vampire Lord you control. This Vampire Lord, by destruction. So like if you just tribute over it, it's still fine. By sending control to the GY. So now you don't have to freaking banish the darn thing. Let's see. Once per turn, you can one zombie type monster to graveyard, then target one. So it's like a weird armed dragon level 5 almost. I almost feel like it should just be like you can discard one zombie monster, target one zombie monster graveyard with a different name. The one sent. Special summon. So now it's like you can also get this and Vampire Lord back, right? Or we should just keep it like weak zombie type monsters. Monster graveyard with 1500 or less attack. That seems a bit better. At least a little more fair anyway. You can revive weaker zombie monsters. Like you're so limited, you can't get like these like big beaters, but you can get stuff like like Pyramid Turtle and some stuff like that. So it's still a little bit limited, but you at least get a lot more options and doesn't get permanently get rid of um your vampire lord guy. You know, the red ice darkness. It's kind of in a similar boat, where it's a really cool card, but it just doesn't quite get there, right? Why does not quite get there? I think it's purely based off of his attack gain, which should be 400, because it's from the graveyard. Right? It's not on the field; it's in the graveyard. So we don't make it like too busted. So I'll give it an additional 100. It's hard to get than it looks. Because I'm thinking if you have like three, that's like 1,500, right? As opposed to 3,100. Like so it would have 3,900. That's almost 1,000 difference just with three alone. Whereas if you had two, like two of them, two dragons in the graveyard, right? So if you have like black dragon's chick and red eyes, like vanilla red eyes, then this guy would have over 3k attack from the 400 alone, not from. But he wouldn't have that with the. He would have 3k with the two, but nothing over that. But if we had 500, then all of a sudden we're looking at 3,400 like right off the bat, and that feels and it only like amplifies from there. I 400, I don't know. I feel like 400 that, that feels like the most fair assessment. I could be wrong here. Because it's not on the field, it's in the graveyard, and there's a lot of ways to like just kind of dump monsters and just ramp this guy's attack up, right? Even if it's not the most like played card or anything like that, right? And give it like dragons. Like if you run stuff like Mass Dragon and Troop Dragon and stuff, and then it can get beefy. I just feel like 300 isn't enough, and 500 feels a little bit too much, given how like generic it is. Dead Draw City with an old Red Ice deck. Yeah, I mean that's fair. Hmm. If we made it 500, yo Daspir, what's up? Um, be used for anything down the line. I don't have any like intentions right away. I will be posting it somewhere in my Discord. Um, sometime later this week probably. Uh, but if you want to like make like their own like custom cards on like Dueling Book, right? Like Janjo's cards kind of thing, and just have fun with it, be my guest. I just want to have it out there for people to reference if they want to do like anything they want with it. I don't have any plans, um, but that doesn't mean that's a no either. There's always a possibility. I just think it's fun, and that's why I'm also making it like a publicly available thing too. Once everything's said and done, it's hard. I almost wish it did something else. Yeah, I mean that's why we get Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, right? Which is and like all like the zombie ones. Yeah, I mean I suppose for all the like the work you're putting into this, but it's just I don't know. It's iffy just because I'm just picturing like all the dragons that like accumulate in the graveyard. 500 like that. I know it's only like 100 difference, but it feels like it accumulates way more to like crazy OTK potential. Like even if it is like hard to get out, like I feel like 400 still is a good boost. And have even having like one red eyes in the graveyard. This guy would get to 28 instead of 27. That just hi hi hi. If I was a big streamer and stuff and I had like a ton of people in chat, I would definitely put a poll up. Maybe I'll put a poll up tomorrow, maybe on my YouTube or like I think Discords can do polls now or something. But you're saying 500, so I'll have 500 for now. But I will ask people later down the line. What are some other promo cards? Because we've done some promo stuff, haven't we? Yeah, we did like an etc. thing or video game. We did one for video game promos. Um, which honestly, these could all just go down here, really. And then we'll just delete this. What am I doing? Delete rows. And delete this row. Okay, so we moved everything down here for etc. Yeah, you get a poll bot for your Discord. Yeah, I never do polls on Discord. Usually it's like on YouTube, but for something like this, I probably would just do like figure out Discord. Other promo cards here. I feel like Graceful and Skull Dice and Exchange are all fine. The Magnet Warriors are honestly fine because like Valkyrion. Um, Valkyrion is actually kind of nutty too. It has like really good stats, and you can tribute from your hand or field, which is like almost like modernized, and then you can tribute and you can like revive them from the graveyard. Like that's kind of wacky for a card that came out in like freaking 2003. So Aqua Chorus, I think that's one. Kaiba the Revenge. If there are monsters on the field same attack, they gain 500. Like this could be buffed up to like 7 or 800. It is very specific, but it's not too far out of the question. Like if you get like let's say Hyena or Giant Germ or something like that. Troop Dragon. It can be better if it could split into three during the battle phase. Yeah, I mean, doesn't like Berserkion or one of those do something like that? 700 feels fair for for effect that doesn't really is probably not going to see any play anyway. But for like buffing a couple monsters, because I feel like you want to save like the big boost for like singular use cards. Seal the Ancients. Seal the Ancients has like really unique art. Um, pay 1,000. I read a pay 1,000 life points. I'm like, no, thank you. Yeah, if you give them like 700, those are like 1,700 beaters, and that seems fair enough for that. See all face of cards in your opponent's side field in return positions. Like there's just like other. It's essentially like what like mine haxers. Where was that? Um, yeah, except that also lets you look at the hand and stuff. This one's lets you be more proactive. But it's another card like I don't see the benefit of paying life points because the card does nothing. Why waste life points on it? Joy the Passion. Let's look at these two cards. I keep trying to make Janjo live short like every week, and it never stays that way. I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to do like a solid 2 hours. It ends up being like 3, 4 hours. I like talking. Why does this keep dripping? Doesn't I don't freaking know, man. I don't know. Equip only to a warrior monster. Gains 700 attack, damage calc. Monster battles dragon sort of end phase. I mean, 700 for something specific that's like really bad. We could do like 1,000 if it's a warrior monster, right? Um, do we do salamander? Because I feel like that falls like in the same boat too. The salamander is kind of different though, because it's like a line of cards that increase by 700, like Shine Pals and Insect Armor. Cards that we didn't get in the TCG for quite a long time. So I wouldn't change that because I didn't change like other like generic equip stuff. But this one has like its own unique, is its own unique thing. That's why I would rather touch this. Because you already have like an equip for warriors, right? If your monster inflicts battle damage upon dark gains the amount of LP. We can make this generic. Just put battle damage to your opponent. So now you can like more likely gain life points from doing something. So Yugi, Windstorm, Anti-Spell, these are all probably. Some people, I think some people play 1,000 Eyes in like the Cage Dark Petition deck. I could be wrong though. Just destroy a monster they control, and it's like it's Dark Magician specific. So I'm fine with that. I'm just checking these cards. I really like Riryoku. Um, like even Konami was scared of in the OCG. Like this card was on the list for a little bit. Because like I think this would just be better if it was a permanent. Not Roryoku, Riryoku, Force Field or Force. Um, because then people would actually consider playing it if it was like a permanent. Because you could hit like a BLS with this, right? That's 1,500 gone, 1,500 gain. It's good. They got like a really strong monster. Yeah, these cards are fine. Dark Magician Knight is fine. Sage of Stone is fine. Let's see. What's the other one? Duels of Roses and Fallsbound Kingdom. Seven Trials. Yeah, those are fine. Goblin Man's fine. Just summons. Yeah. Uh, Fairy King we talked about already. Yeah, we're doing like anything, etc. So like promos, structure decks, anything that isn't in like a core set. We've we've done tournament packs 1 and 2 and the Yugi Kaiba starter decks. Aside from that, anything's free game for like DM era specifically. It's the Magnet Warriors, MS Affinity Twin-Headed Beast. This card can attack. God, those stats. Yeah, we're fixing this. This, honestly, we're just going to swap its stats. Like, I'm fine with doing stat swaps. Like, 1900 should be default one tribute thing for me. Unless it has like a really, really bonkers effect, but that usually never comes up. Because like it's negligible between like 17 and 19, but it's still like a, for beater monsters, there's still a fair difference in that regard. You try to discard story as a monster since the great result of battle. Increase attack by 700. That's interesting. I guess I don't know. Probably almost. I wonder if this card would just be better if it was like 6 stars with swap stats as well. But that feels like that might be changing too much. It honestly just might be unfortunate. Yeah, 2 tributes hurts, but it has good like default stats, and it does gain a lot of attack. That's kind of like the weird thing about it. Like 2 tribute monsters have to exist to some capacity, right? Um, as far as 2 tribute monsters go, it's one of the better. It's honestly one of the better ones you could play. You destroy one monster and it has 3,200 attack, like permanent. And it's not once per turn or anything like that. It's probably fine. Um, we already covered this. I think these were all the cards we could cover. Um, like other things like like Griffin's Feather Duster, Anti Raigeki, like Needleworm, those like extra stuff. It's like inherent those like weird counters, like they just kind of exist as they are. Um, do we do Infernal Flame Emperor? I no. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's not many decks to cover because I can't imagine any like nothing from like Joey or Pegasus is worth changing. Um, Infernal Flame Emperor. Let's remove that special summoning because that's stupid. Because the fact is, it is what it is, right? When you tribute summon it, banish fire monsters and pop like spells. So like when you tribute summon it, you can typically pop, bare minimum 2, which that's a plus, I guess. Well, technically it's a +1. You can count the board presence that this guy gives. Or if we have it where it destroys cards on opponent's side of the field. So now, not only can it be special summon, but if you do tribute summon it, you can banish to pop any card on their field. That sounds a lot better. I think, anyway. By the way, can we get to those 10 likes? We're so close. It'd be a shame if we did not. Let's see. Well, was there any? I don't think there's any other exclusives in this deck, right? Or was there? No. Uh, I don't think these had exclusive aside from like their like main card. Like I don't think this did aside from Genesis and Dragon's Roar of similarity. No. Um, Warriors Triumph was not legal in GOAT format, or was it? No. November? Yeah, absolutely not. Uh, and then Neo Daedalus on release it had a different effect, which like for Fairy King Truesdale, I kept its original effect. Uh, with Neo Daedalus, it does make sense because it is supposed to be like an upgrade of its original one, and its effect is like really busted, right? Because its original effect was, um, which I actually made a whole video on this. It didn't have like a summon clause. It just like Chaos Emperor Dragon the field by sending that. Um, would people play it if it did have its original effect? Because you still need to play like Legendary Ocean, right? And I'm a big fan of the Daedalus cards, personally. So like this was its original effect. Send Umi on your side field to the GY and to send all cards, both players' hands and field secure, except for this card. Like that's kind of nutty. But it's also a water card that requires you know, a way to get it out, right? Like you could use big wave, small wave, which is kind of an iffy card. You can find ways to revive it and stuff, but it does give a lot more credence to like a water deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, which water in Yu-Gi-Oh didn't really see like a meta deck for. I mean, goodness, what was the first meta water deck? Mermails, maybe. I mean, surely there was something beforehand, but I'm having trouble think. I guess like Ocean Control, like that hero kind of variant, like Bubble Beat, right? But those were kind of like more hero decks and like a water deck, right? Because his original thing was corrected. Um, oh, actually, I did have a thought for one card. Yeah, I guess like frogs. Um, because frogs as well. Speaking of structure decks, so Lord of D, that's that's one I would definitely give its original errata or its original effect. Also, let's call it Lord of Dragons or Lord of Dragon. Kind of like we did with what was it D Tribe? Yeah, Dragon Tribe. So we'll change the name to Lord of Dragon because why not? Because this also has a different original effect where it was just all dragon monsters on the field are not affected instead of not by targeting, which protected them from stuff like Darkhold and Raigeki, which was so much nicer for the strategy. Like it makes it so much better, it makes it so much viable. Like the Dragon deck and Yuki Kaiba, a deck that otherwise like has completely fall off the face of the earth. Like no one talks about it anymore. While like when the Yugi Kaiba had its like kind of first run, right, its revival period, like that was like one of the big decks people talked about. I was also kind of unsure of when to play Lord of the Year, like when the unlimited edition came, because even that's like I do want to make a video on how the how weird SC1 SCK releases are because it's really odd. Um, but yeah, glad I did not forget about Lord of the, especially at this point. Is there any other like promo stuff y'all can think of that would like any like etc. releases? Let me organize this. I'm trying to remember how to organize this on here. Is it formatting? No. What was it? Sort range A to Z. There we go. Because I feel like that might be covering everything. All the like video game promos and tournament pack stuff. I feel like it might. I think that might be it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. Get away, Whirlwind Prodigy. I mean, that's a pretty good amount of guards. Rise of Destiny actually kind of feel like it took us a while, surprisingly. But maybe it's just my own pacing. Look at all these cards we fixed. Goodness. And next week I got an interesting idea for a video or for a live stream too. So be prepped for that. But yeah, I'm gonna call a stream here. Thank you all for watching and stopping by and helping me out with this task. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm glad a lot of you enjoyed it too. And again, if you have any ideas for this, either leave in the comments below or message, like talk about it in my Discord or somewhere like that. But yeah, until I see you all next time, have a wonderful day.